We're back. I'm ready to go. Now, one important thing that I did forget to mention is when you have leftover grout, after you've grouted your piece like this, put it in a plastic bag and keep it until you've absolutely cleaned the piece, because what you might end up and do is you might knock a piece of grout out of a grout line and you'll need to fill it back up. So it's always good to keep your leftover stuff in a plastic bag until you've actually completely finished the piece. Now, if you were going to if you're going to wipe it dry now and you wanted to do the dry process, you would now use a rag and start wiping it over. However, I prefer to use a damp sponge, a very well wrung out damp sponge, and then just wipe it over. And we're going to wipe in different directions because we want to make sure that we don't wipe, or we try and avoid wiping the grout out. So we're just removing the bulk amount. And yes, I have filled up my holes that I'm going to hang this piece with, but I will take that grout out of those shortly. So we just wipe it over and then we rinse it in our bucket. Rinse it well. Then we give it another wipe over. Including the sides. So it's nice and smooth. So the grout has filled up those little gaps that I had in there. And I must admit, it is easier because this piece has been glazed. So the grout just wipes off it without a problem. Just wiping that down. Now, what I'm going to do now is leave that again for just a little bit longer, about another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I'm going to come back and use a rag to clean it up. Now, when you grout, do not force the grout to dry. So don't leave it in the hot sun or put, pardon me, or put a fan on it or anything like that, because you don't want to force it to dry because it has to cure at its own rate. So if it's a hot day, I don't grout. I only grout on a coolish day because I just find it works better and it just cures gradually, which is much better for the grout. So okay, we'll come back shortly and then we'll do the final wipe over. We're ready to do another clean on this, so I have my rag ready. And now what we're going to do is just wipe over it and work it into the edges of the grout lines, so that what we're going to do is any corner areas like this here, we'll just work that in there. Now, if it doesn't come out like that because the rag, that dips down and the rag can't get in there, then we use anything, in this particular case it's a paper clip, just to push it in and get that grout line, to get that grout line clean. So this is where there's always a bit of cleaning up. And that's just a matter of spending time with it. So I'm not going to hold you up and go into detail on that because that's basically what you do. But we do need to just get in there. And look, most of it will clean up without a problem. It really does. It's really so good. But of course, occasionally you'll get ones like that where you've just got to get in there and get that grout out of there. Because you want your piece to look really neat. And if you're taking a high-res photo, whether you're going to sell your piece or whether you're going to give it to someone and you have a website or something, it's imperative that you clean it up beautifully, because a photograph, a high-res photo, will show any fault in a mosaic as far as your cleaning goes. So you really want to get in there and spend a bit of time cleaning it up and making sure that it's looking really good. Now, if you find you delve into a grout line and you knock the grout out, you've got your spare grout here to refill it if need be. But that's really what there is to it. Just get in there and clean them up. And also I will take out that excess grout in there where the holes are, so as I can hang my piece, because if I leave it in, I'll have to drill it. And I don't want to do that. So that's really all there is to it. Just clean it all up. But when it's done, it just brings it all together. It's great. It's not a race, it's just a matter of cleaning it as you go. If you have a bit too much grout up here or something that you haven't wiped off properly earlier, then you would just, again, go up there and wipe that off first before you go and clean up down here. But I try to get off as much grout as possible on the first wipe without delving into it too much, and then subsequent cleanups will follow where you can finite it. Again, there's another one there I need to get that grout out of there. There you go. Because I always take a high-res photo of all my pieces, and I think, oh, that looks really good, and then you got to take a picture and there's a bit of grout you've left, and of course when people enlarge it, it shows. So the cleaning up process, which is a lot of fun, because like, you're proud of your piece and you put a lot of love into it, and you want to make sure that it's right for the person that you give it to or sell it to, or just for your own place. So that's really about it. So I'll continue on and clean this up, and then we'll come back to the next video. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, have a look at the other ones in the series Starting in Mosaics. Thank you for watching.